So what about cities and automated vehicles? We've heard a lot today. It's complex. There will be a long transition period. It's difficult. We do not know the future. Okay, that's all right. We take a very pragmatic approach in our city. We are just a small city. We're going from Boston to Helmond. Oh, my God. But we take a very pragmatic approach. And my ideas, there are a lot of opportunities as well in the short term. And let's go for the quick wins. And this is a tool we used a couple of years ago in a Barcelona workshop with all kinds of city planners, Mobilitätsexperten, also ganz intelligente Leute, wie Sie hier. And we asked the question, a very simple question, when do you think 10% of the vehicles will be automated vehicles? We were not discussing is it level 3, 4 or 5, didn't matter, but just to give an idea. And the only conclusion was all these intelligent people, nobody knows. Most of them, I think they hoped it would be after their retirement, so they do not have to care about it, they do not have to bother about it. But I think this is not true, and this is not our approach, and this is the famous Chris Carter quote. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And I think this also applies for the smaller cities. This is not only for the mega cities. Also for smaller cities, it's important to be at the table. We have very specific challenges in our cities, but sometimes also on the other hand, I think we're very good test beds for making the step from research, from the laboratory to real deployment. You need sometimes smaller cities to do the first pilots. To give you a bit of background, I think most of you do not know where Helmond is located. Well, it's located in the Netherlands, in the southeast of the Netherlands, a small city, about 100,000 inhabitants. But we are located in a very interesting region. It's called the Brainport region because there are a lot of high-tech companies working also in the field of smart mobility. NXP, TomTom, VDL, all these kind of companies, all working in this research institute like TNO. So we have a very interesting ecosystem. And if we're talking about smart mobility and we are working on smart mobility, I always mean we as a city together with the private sector. It will never be the city working on automated vehicles, never be the city working on smart mobility. At least this is our approach in the Netherlands. It's always between the research institutes, universities, private and public players. And to give you a bit of explanation what our problems, of course we are not Boston and we do not have a total gridlock, we do not have serious congestion problems, but to explain a bit of our challenge at least, this is the most important picture. We have one main road really dividing our city into two halves. It's the main road with about 40,000 vehicles passing by per day. 40,000 vehicles where people live, where people are working, where children are going to the school. And the good thing is we have 4 railway stations for a city with not even 100,000 inhabitants. Of course, this is incredible, 4 railway stations. The only thing is we have a very good connection outside, to the outside world, to other cities, to the cities in Germany, to the cities in the western part of the Netherlands. But to come from the railway station to another place in Helmond, this is the issue because there are hardly any buses. So if you're talking about our mobility challenges, the first one is the high traffic volume on this main road. The second one is the last mile connection. To make a connection, we have 4 railway stations, great, but how to come to the hospital, how to come to your workplace. This is our main challenge. And road safety, I think this should be high on the agenda of every city, small or big. I think this is the most important one. For local authorities, this is our obligation to take care of road safety. And for us in Helmond, we really believe in the power of technology. But we do realize ITS, Intelligent Transport Systems, is only part of the solution. It will never solve all problems. Technology will never solve all problems. From background, I'm a geographer, so I think all solutions will start with good spatial planning. This is really the start of mobility solutions, a good spatial planning, but it takes a while. So in the meantime, ITS could help to solve some problems. And this is our Bible already for 15 years. We really believe in the power of technology. We believe in the power of ITS for some applications. And even more, we're not just waiting for the market to come up with solutions. We're not just wait and see what the market will come up with, but we play an active role. We really want to actively support all kinds of smart mobility pilots and showcases. And this is not only in our policy paper, not in words, but really in practice. And Christian, you were talking about this award, about policy making. Well, the award was not so much about policy making, but it was turning policy into practice. And this is what we're doing in Helmond. And I think we are good at, and many small cities are good in turning policy into practice. We're doing silly things like closing public roads for testing purposes. And I think it would be very difficult, for example, in Boston, but also in Bremen, Michael, to close roads for testing public roads. So this is what we're good at, really doing this kind of things. And I don't know who of you have been to the ITS Congress this year in Eindhoven and Helmond, and we closed the roads for 4 days for testing purposes and all kind of showcases. This is the good thing about a small city. What I noticed this morning, we were talking a lot about autonomous vehicles, autonomy, but I never heard the word cooperative ITS. And this is for us, for the Dutch, it's very strange, because for us it's a logical step to first start with connected vehicles, cooperative vehicles, before we go to automated vehicles. I hate the word autonomous vehicles. I do not believe in the concept of autonomous vehicles. I do believe in connected, automated driving, but not autonomous vehicles. So our first project in our city was about, I'm still very proud of it, was a Frail project. From a technology point of view, not very complex. It was equipping trucks in our city with some onboard unit, communicating with the traffic lights and giving the driver some speed advice, time to green advice, but also a certain level of priority for trucks, improving the traffic flow of trucks in our city. And the good news was, of course, the technology worked. And because of the technology was working, we also applied it for other users like the fire brigade. Our emergency vehicles are already using this in operation now. If a fire brigade truck goes out for emergency, all the traffic lights will turn into green because of this technology. But maybe even more important was the 13% fuel saving, because this was the first time in Europe we proved there could be a potential business case. If a transport company is saving with this kind of technology 13% in fuel, this could make a difference between surviving or going bankruptcy at the end of the year. So this was really the eye-opener, I think, also on the European level. In the silly small city of Helmond, we proved with real drivers and real traffic that it could be a business case. And I think if we want to make the step from technology to real deployment, large-scale deployment, I think this is the main issue, to come to business models. We all know, and we have seen many pilots, that the technology will work about cooperative ITS. Vehicles connected to each other, vehicles talking to traffic lights, we've seen that it will work. But how to come to economies of scale? And this is a bit of chicken and egg. You need upscaling to come to economies of scale, but for economies of scale you need upscaling. And this is what we try to do in Helmond as well. We're now in a project called C-Mobile, and the aim of the project is to come to sustainable, large-scale CITS deployment. And I did not make many friends in the European Commission or with my partners, but I hope this really is the last funded EU project on CITS, because we have done hundreds of pilots on CITS. We could do another 1,000, but it's all spending or burning your money, tax money. And I think it's now time for the market to come up with solutions, to come up with services. What we did in the Netherlands, we started a program, I don't know if some of you will know it, it's called Talking Traffic. And from the public authorities, we equipped all the traffic lights, we made them into intelligent traffic lights, ready to communicate with the vehicles. But now it's up to the market to come up with solutions. Otherwise, we will spend tax money for years and years. So this is the second thought for today, and maybe input for the discussion later on. Of course, you have to act locally. You have to find solution on a local level, but you have to think global. If you're just looking for solutions for every specific city, it will never work. You have to go for global solutions. You have to go to economies of scale, otherwise we'll never have sustainable business models. This for us, this is a very logical step. We started with CITS in the city of Helmond. It's about connected cooperative systems. Then we go to automated. It will never be autonomous vehicles in our city. But I think for automated vehicles, we have a very long way to go. If we said for CITS, technology is already available, policy is already available. I'm not sure about policy. I think every city has a different opinion about automated vehicles. Some love it, some hate it. On the European Commission level, I think they're quite positive about the possible positive effects of automated vehicles. On federal level, I don't know. So it's a bit... On technology, we were quite optimistic a couple of years ago. But I think we now all realize down to earth again, it will take some years to come to level 4 or 5. So we have a long way to go. But also for automated vehicles and the services, especially the service with automated vehicles, it will all depend on business models. If we find the right business models, that will fly, otherwise not. We have one project, we are in a European project called Coexist. Just mention one of these projects we're in, but it's especially Coexist, if you're interested, this is dealing with this long transition period, and it's doing two things. One, we're making a transition roadmap. What will the transition period, when we have automated vehicles and traditional vehicles in mixed traffic, what will it mean for a city? How is your planning for the transition period? What will be the impact for your city? Also on spatial planning. The other thing is a very practical tool, and maybe this is interesting for some of the planners in the audience. We're also making traffic simulation tool where you can simulate automated vehicles because they will have a different behavior compared to traditional vehicles. And this is what our partner PTV is doing. And so if you're interested in this project, please contact me afterwards. Now going to the quick wins of automated vehicles, of automation, I really think for especially for smaller cities, the gain really is in public transport. If you see in cities like Helmond, it's the silly thing of empty buses with very expensive drivers driving around, not having a flexible on-demand system. So this is really our issue, the last mile thing. And this is what we're trying to do with in the context of the Fabulous project. Really trying to, with automated vehicles, automated shuttles, to have a flexible, on-demand, and especially affordable system of last-mile solutions. It's a special project because we worked with pre-commercial procurement, and it works from, you start with a lot of suppliers, and during the process, you end up with a couple of suppliers. But the phase 0 was the most important one for us. We really started and spent a lot of time and energy in really an open market consultation. Public authorities speaking with the market, with the suppliers, what is possible. Sometimes we are far too optimistic because most of the civil servants, including myself, we do not understand the technology. We are very optimistic and we think the technology could solve everything. Really have an open debate with the market, to have an open market consultation. It's very important to see what is feasible, and also from our side, what we want in our cities. This is so this phase 0 was the most important one. What we hope to have next year in a 3 months or 6 months trial is a connection between the main railway station and the automotive campus in Helmond with automated shuttles without a steward on board. And this is really a challenge. And if you look at the challenges of automated shuttles, I think the most important challenge for us will be to have normal speed, 50 kilometers per hour in mixed city traffic. City like Helmond, like most of the Dutch cities, we have about 30% of all the movements is done by bike. So we have these automated vehicles have to deal with these silly, stupid pedestrians and cyclists. This is really this is the challenge. This is the challenge. And to get to normal speed. I've seen many trials in city mobile projects where we have automated shuttles running with 10 kilometers an hour. And pedestrians passing by the vehicle. I mean, this is really, if we want to have a solution and not a competition for cycling, and then we have to come up to normal speeds, and this will be the challenge. But we hope we'll prove it next year that it will be possible. At the same time, if we prove that it will be possible, I think this will be a real quick win. We done it 9 years ago with this Fredel project, proving in a real-life environment that it works to communicate between traffic lights and trucks. If we can prove in a small city like Helmond that it works to have automated shuttles and that it will help us for this last-mile solution, I think we make a big step forward, and then we can go to upscaling to other cities. Now coming to my favorite subject about road safety. 25,000 people killed in accidents on European roads. I think it's a shame. With all the technology available, it's a shame that we accept this. Boeing Max not allowed to fly, and we accept so many people killed on European roads. On a city level, however, it's not about statistics, it's about people. Der Nachbar, die Ehefrau, die gestorben ist im Verkehr, das sind die Sachen, die wichtig sind. Und deswegen, for us, road safety is very, very important. And also it's a bit of a shame and a bit of a disappointment for me with all the technology available. For example, we have intelligent speed assistance. It's a technology already available in some of your cars. Jaguar Land Rover, Honda, Citroën, they all have it, but it hasn't been deployed yet. And I've been in many, many debates with the automotive industry. Why not? And this is why we start an initiative. It's called the Manifesto Intelligent Speed Assistance, really trying to accelerate deployment of intelligent speed assistance. It's a very simple system. It's just saying to your car, keep to the maximum speed limit, and it's not possible to speed. It's very simple technology, and it will come anyway. In the transition towards automated vehicles, the robots, they will obey the speed limits. Why not try to accelerate this deployment of intelligent speed assistance? To come to some conclusions from small and medium-sized city Helmond. Of course, expect a long transition period, we know it, but prepare for it. Be at the table. Go for the quick wins. There are a lot of opportunities like ISA, but also like automated valet parking. It's an opportunity in the short term. Go for the quick wins. Autonomous vehicles, I said it before. No, not in our city. But connected, cooperative, automated driving, yes. For smaller cities, and I feel very comfortable here in Switzerland because you have a lot of smaller cities. You do not have so many mega cities. Also for smaller cities, it could be very interesting to work in European projects. I really am a great fan of working in projects. It gives you a lot of knowledge, it gives you a network, so it's really, I think it's worth investing in working in European projects. For small and medium-sized cities, I think we are very well equipped to be a testbed to make the steps from research to real deployment. So this is, I think, the power of smaller cities. And it's again, Chris, you said it's also a bit learning by doing and making mistakes. So this is my final quote then, but it's the famous Leonard Cohen. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. What we're doing in Helmond, of course, it's not perfect. We make many mistakes, but at least we're doing things and we're learning from it. Thank you very much.